What's up, everybody? Today we're going to look at the gun I'd use if I was in Miami in the 70s. And that is the MPA 30T-73. Basically, Masterpiece Arms Mac 10 clone. Okay, so I have a bit of a confession to make. I spend a lot of time on Twitter or X and kind of in the gun sphere looking at things, and every now and then there's these people, I guess they make money doing it, they just post links to product sites of cool deals, interesting guns. And usually I'm immune to that because I just I have my basic stuff down that I need. I have my long gun, I got my pistol, I got my daily concealed carry. But every now and then something pops up that just kind of hits that itch. Usually it's too expensive, so I don't have to worry about it. But this popped up, and it's like 300 bucks. Okay, a little more than that, but it was a price I couldn't say no to. I always loved the Mac 10. Matter of fact, it was my preferred troll weapon in Counter-Strike Source. And if you guys ever played Counter-Strike, specifically Counter-Strike Source, you guys know the Mac 10 was unbelievably horrible, but it paired well with a horrible player, so it was fun to use it to pray and spray, and the lucky headshots were worth the wait times. Anyway, so I see this advertised for a steal of a deal, and I just think to myself, I gotta have it. Like, it's a Mac 10. It's my drug running gun. So I did the only reasonable thing, is I clicked on the link and I gave them money and I got myself a Mac 10. Obviously, it's based off of Military Arms Corporation's Model 10, commonly known as the Ingram Mac 10 or the Ingram 10, Ingram Model 10. It's similar to it, but it's better in a lot of ways. This one actually works, I know, but it's inferior to the fact that it's obviously only semi-auto. So a couple of the interesting things, the suppressor is not a suppressor, so this will not violate any YouTube guidelines. This is a safety device for your hand. There we go. So it comes pre-threaded barrel. I believe it's a 1/2 by 28 pitch, and it's just a solid tube. Adds nothing except it protects your hands because there is nowhere to hold it. I mean, I guess this is a pistol, so you can shoot it with one hand. And I have done a couple, two-handed shots with it. It's honestly not bad shooting it with two hands, but it's really designed to have the stock on it eventually, or a brace. And the original Mac 10s had a little piece of Velcro that you kind of held and pulled down, and it was to help keep your hand out of the way. And they were originally designed to come with their mated suppressors that were, kind of added the usability to it, which is ironic when you think about it, because if you're building a gun from the ground up, why wouldn't you just do an integrated suppressor to the barrel? But I digress. So a couple of the key differences between this and an authentic Mac 10, instead of having the safety selector here, they decided to use the semi and full auto selector as the safety selector. So on a original one, obviously it'd be full and semi-automatic. One fun thing about this one is it doesn't matter. You can just spin it around. It has the standard top racking charge handle. They do sell some with side racking charging handles, and they'll have Picatinny on top, but obviously those cost more, and it's not kind of that OG Mac 10 vibe. It is also quite a bit lighter. It's closer actually to the Mac 11, the 380 versus the 9mm or 45. I think it's around just over 3 pounds. The original was like 8 for the 9mm. So with the fake suppressor unloaded, we're at 3 pounds, 13 ounces, so 4 pounds, and nearly half the weight of the original, which is kind of crazy to think about it because it is a hefty gun. But this is just a solid piece of metal on the front here. It does have adapters, so it does have pre-tapped holes, so you can put a adapter on the back, so you can put either your stock or your brace, whether or not you want to form one or form two. One of the other differences is in the original Mac 10, there was an integrated into the handle release, On this one, you have this nice big trigger to push, which honestly is a little better in my mind, a little easier to hit. And then getting to the trigger. So going back to my Twitter X story, when I saw it, a very famous YouTuber commented that this gun was trash. And I will admit, this is not a tactical gun. Even the original Macs aren't really tactical guns. They're of a time. But it's just cool. It has the vibes. And honestly, like, we spend a lot of time trying to, get our dual quad nods, get the best chest rig, the best Geisley upper, and, we go kind of crazy on trying to be just like soft tier 1 guys. And it's always funny to me when I think back, when we were infantry, heck, half the time we didn't get issued a sidearm. I think the first time I qualified on a sidearm was before I deployed, and it was literally hit a man-sized target from like 15 feet 10 out of 50 times. It was something ridiculous. Don't quote me on it. It was a long time ago. I got hit in the head a lot. Pistols, unless you're, going in on a little bird, you're not really worried about pistols. It's not a thing. You have your main weapon. You got your buddy there. But in the civilian industry, we want to be like these top guys. And I get it. It's fun. It's cool. I love the gear. I love the tactics. But every now and then, it's just fun to get a fun gun, a cheap gun, a silly gun. And at this price, we're at $300, is a lot of money, but I can eat some ramen for a couple more days. It's not that big of a deal. I can now, with adult money, justify purchasing this in my mind. Sorry, getting back on track. So anyway, the much more popular YouTuber than me, but most are. So that was a piece of junk. And while there is some shortcomings in the construction process, it's none that affect function so far. Unfortunately, I only have about 200 rounds on this, and I've never had an error malfunction. Okay, that's only 200 rounds, but for it being a Mac 10, it's a Mac 10 that works. So we have that going for us. And then one of the surprising things is the trigger is actually really nice. I mean, you can be accurate with this thing, and the sights are basic, but they're adequate. But honestly, I would like to have it's not a super light trigger, but it's a very defined trigger. There's a defined wall. It moves smoothly. There's no grime in it. Yeah, honestly, just fun to use. A couple of modifications you can do to it. Like I said, you can get actually a different version that has a top charging handle on the sides. So you can get picatinny on top if you want to go full tactical. The mags they send you with, the Masterpiece Arms mags, they're plastic. They're not bad. Kind of your standard polymer mag. They're straight. They go in, nothing to it. They do sell a modification for the lower that allows you to use Glock mags, which I was really interested in because I have a lot of extended Glock mags. However, it does this horrible thing to this wonderful square and right angles contraption that Mr. Ingram came up with, and it turns it from basically this perpendicular straight up and down beautiful lines to that. And that is not a Mac 10 clone. That is something else. This is a Mac 10 clone. That is not a Mac 10 clone. So just something to think about. Yes, it'd be easier because they want too much money for what this is, but you make up for it on the gun itself. And honestly, you're not going to be running through a whole bunch of mags. This is a cool thing to take out, shoot a couple times, let your buddy shoot it, and you'll have a good time. Like I said, the construction, honestly, where it counts, it's nicely machined, bent, everything. They do have a couple callbacks. Here at the front, the cuts are pretty jagged, and then the welds on the sight picture are actually, well, they're obviously ground down because they weren't done with too much care, but they're good enough. And for what it is and the price, well within spec as far as I'm concerned. So let me know what you think. I personally think that having a stupid, silly gun that's just cool is worth the price. Also, a little side trivia, it's made in Georgia where the original Mac 10 was made, so it's a little closer to true form and function. But, all right, that's it. Let me know. What do you guys think? Would you spend $300 hard-earned dollars on a meme gun? I would, because it's a lot less than buying a Desert Eagle.